Picture this. Miami, 1995. The sun's beating down on Ocean Drive when two cops tear through traffic in a Porsche 911, trading insults as bullets fly. A buddy cop movie that wasn't just loud, it was deafening. Bad Boys didn't just entertain us, it changed lives. Two TV stars became Hollywood royalty overnight. A commercial director became the cinema's master of chaos. But when the cameras stopped rolling, that's when the real drama began. Friendships crumbled, demons surfaced, and the three men at the center of it all would never be the same again. Nobody thought Bad Boys would matter. Hell, it wasn't even supposed to star Will Smith or Martin Lawrence. The script was originally written for Dana Carvey and Jon Lovitz. Yeah, that would have been a different movie. When it finally hit theaters on April 7, 1995, expectations were rock bottom. Smith was just the Fresh Prince. Lawrence was the guy from Martin. And behind the camera, a 29-year-old kid named Michael Bay who'd never directed anything longer than a Coca-Cola commercial. The studio threw them $19 million, practically lunch money for an action flick, and basically said, good luck. They shot in Miami's worst summer heat. The script was half finished. The studio executives were ready to pull the plug daily. And then, $141 million worldwide. Audiences went crazy for it. The chemistry between Smith and Lawrence felt real because it was real. Two young black stars fighting to prove themselves in a Hollywood that rarely gave them these chances. And Bay's frenetic camera work, those spinning shots, the glamorous slow motion, the golden hour lighting. It wasn't just direction, it was desperation. A young director is throwing everything at the screen, but success has a funny way of changing people. What we didn't know then was how this single movie would twist the lives of everyone involved, some for better, some for much, much worse. The set of Bad Boys wasn't just chaotic, it was a ticking time bomb. Ever seen those behind-the-scenes features where everyone's smiling and talking about their film family? Yeah, this wasn't that. Imagine a 29-year-old Michael Bay, sweating through his shirt in the Miami heat, screaming into his phone at Sony executives. "What do you mean I can't close down Ocean Drive? I need one more day." The studio suits were watching their modest investment spiral, and Bay, this cocky kid from music videos, was giving them heart attacks daily. "They treated me like a child," Bay later confessed to Entertainment Weekly. "I'd sneak my camera crew into locations at 4 a.m., shoot until someone kicked us out, then move to the next spot. We were like film gorillas. Meanwhile, the stars were dealing with their mess." Will Smith was the new kid, desperate to prove he wasn't just a TV actor with a goofy rap career. Lawrence was already established. His show, Martin, was a ratings giant, and he had legitimate stand-up cred. The power dynamic was complicated. A production assistant who worked on set and preferred to remain nameless told Vanity Fair years later, Martin would show up when Martin wanted to show up. Will was always early, always prepared. It created this weird tension nobody talked about. The script, toilet paper. Smith and Lawrence were rewriting their lines in their trailers before scenes. That iconic exchange. "How am I supposed to talk?" "You're not. That's what's wrong with you." Improvised during a take when Lawrence got annoyed with Smith talking too much between scenes. Even that franchise-defining motto, "We ride together, we die together, Bad Boys for life," came from Smith riffing at 2 a.m. on the last night of shooting. Bay liked it so much he reshot the ending to include it. The film we got wasn't despite the chaos. It was because of it. That electric, unhinged energy wasn't movie magic. It was survival. 3 careers hanging by a thread, proving themselves with every take. When it wrapped, they weren't friends. They were survivors. Little did they know the real struggle was just beginning. Martin Lawrence should have been celebrating. Bad Boys made him a movie star while his show, Martin, was still dominating TV. Hollywood started calling. Nothing to Lose with Tim Robbins, Blue Streak, then Big Mama's House, which raked in $174 million. On paper, he was winning, but success is a funny drug. It amplifies everything, including your demons. May 8, 1996. The intersection of Ventura Boulevard and Tyrone Avenue in Sherman Oaks. Midday traffic. Witnesses described it the same way. Martin Lawrence, soaked in sweat, screaming at passing cars. waving a pistol, shouting, "They're trying to kill me," over and over. When police arrived, he was incoherent. His publicist blamed it on exhaustion and dehydration. The whispers around Hollywood told a different story. Drugs, maybe a psychotic break. Whatever it was, Lawrence spent weeks in treatment. He tried bouncing back, but then February 1997 happened. Arrested after a nightclub brawl in Hollywood. The charges were eventually dropped, but the pattern was emerging. Martin Lawrence, the brightest comedic talent of his generation, was spiraling. Then came the incident that almost killed him. August 1999. Lawrence decided to go jogging. Not unusual, except he wore a plastic suit under multiple layers of heavy clothing in 100-degree heat. His girlfriend found him collapsed at home hours later, his core temperature at a fatal 107 degrees. 3 days in a coma, kidney failure. The doctors didn't think he'd make it. "I was trying to sweat out impurities," he later explained to Oprah. "I was trying to clean myself." He didn't say from what. When he returned to the screens, something essential was missing. That manic energy, that unpredictable spark, gone. Watch his performances before and after 1999. It's like watching two different people. He still showed up for Bad Boys 2 in 2003, still took roles, and still made us laugh sometimes. But the Martin Lawrence that burst onto that Miami set in 1995, he never really came back. In a rare 2020 interview reflecting on those years, Lawrence simply said, I died. And when you come back from that, you don't see things the same way anymore. While Martin Lawrence fought his demons in public, Will Smith was building an empire. And man, what an empire it was. Independence Day, $817 million worldwide. Men in Black, $589 million. Ali, I, Robot, Hitch, I Am Legend, Hancock. For a decade, Smith didn't just star in movies, he owned Summer. From 1996 to 2008, 8 consecutive films grossed over $100 million. Nobody in Hollywood history had a run like that. He married Jada Pinkett in 1997, had kids who became stars themselves, built a production company, earned Oscar nominations. Smith didn't just achieve the American dream, he redefined it. "I studied the patterns of success," Smith once told 60 Minutes. "I would sit down with boxes of data on the top-grossing films. Then I'd work backward. What do these films have in common? When should they be released? What elements should be in the trailer?" Success became science to him. Perfection became the only acceptable outcome. Friends from those years described a man who slept 4 hours a night, who demanded perfection from everyone, who planned every interview, every public appearance with military precision. Remember when he turned down The Matrix to make Wild Wild West? It flopped, but Smith barely flinched. Next movie, another hit. The machine kept running, but machines break down eventually. The first crack came in 2020. On Jada's Red Table Talk show, the couple revealed she'd had what she called an entanglement, an affair with singer August Alsina while she and Will were separated. Will sat there smiling that famous smile, but something in his eyes was different. The internet turned his pain into memes, that public mask he'd worn for 25 years. It was slipping. Then March 27, 2022, the Oscars. Chris Rock makes a joke about Jada's shaved head, a style choice related to her alopecia. Will laughs, then seems to notice his wife's reaction. Moments later, he walks on stage, slaps Rock across the face, returns to his seat and shouts, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth." Minutes later, he won Best Actor for King Richard. Tears streaming, he apologized to everyone except Rock. The pinnacle of his career and his most public breakdown happened simultaneously. In his video apology months later, Smith looked exhausted. "I was going through something that night," he said. "That doesn't justify my behavior, but maybe it helps explain it." The man who had spent decades building the perfect image had finally cracked under its weight. The penalty: a 10-year ban from the Oscars and a career in limbo. Former co-star Tisha Campbell perhaps said it best. Will spent 30 years giving people exactly what they wanted from Will Smith, and the one time he acted like a human being with real emotions. They crucified him for it. If you Google Bayhem, you'll find a filmmaking term that didn't exist before Michael Bay. It means chaos, explosions, saturated colors, spinning cameras, American flags billowing in slow motion. After Bad Boys, Bay wasn't just hired, he was unleashed. The Rock with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage, Armageddon, that ridiculous asteroid movie that somehow made us all cry. Then the Transformers franchise, which alone has grossed over $4.8 billion. Hollywood handed him the keys to the kingdom. $200 million budgets, full creative control, the power to make or break careers, and it broke him. In 1996, The Rock made Bay the hottest director in town. By 2009, being Michael Bay had become a punchline. Critics created drinking games for his movies. Take a shot every time there's an American flag. Take 2 shots whenever the camera spins around a character for no reason. I make movies for teenage boys, Bay once shrugged in an interview. Oh, what a crime. But the criticism wasn't just about his visual style. It was about the man himself. Bruce Willis called him arrogant. Kate Beckinsale revealed Bay made her lose weight for Pearl Harbor, then criticized her looks. Shia LaBeouf described 18-hour shoots where Bay would scream through megaphones. And then there was Megan Fox. In 2009, Fox compared Bay to Hitler on set. He wants to be like Hitler on his sets, and he is. He's a nightmare to work for. The fallout was nuclear. Fox was immediately fired from the Transformers franchise. Steven Spielberg, an executive producer, reportedly demanded her removal. Bay's reputation, already tarnished, plummeted further, and the movies got worse. Transformers. Revenge of the Fallen was so poorly received that Bay himself apologized for it. Pain and Gain, his attempt at dark comedy, divided audiences. 13 Hours tried to be political and failed. 6 Underground went straight to Netflix with a whimper. The Hollywood machine that had embraced him was now rejecting him. The Michael Bay, who had once revolutionized action cinema with his hyperkinetic style, was now seen as a dinosaur. Loud, outdated, and heading for extinction. His most recent film, 2022's Ambulance, was pitched as a return to his Bad Boys roots. Smaller budget, realistic stakes. It bombed. The audience had moved on. I don't read what critics say, Bay told Empire magazine in 2020. But yeah, it hurts to go from being the cool guy to being the punchline. Somewhere between the cocky kid on the Bad Boys set and the industry pariah he became, Michael Bay lost control of his narrative. The explosions got bigger, but the stories got smaller. Now he's just another cautionary tale about what happens when Hollywood gives you everything you want. When those credits rolled on Bad Boys in 1995, nobody could have predicted what would happen next. 3 men, bound together by 120 minutes of Miami chaos, each riding that success to different destinations. Martin Lawrence touched the stars, then crashed back to Earth, his body and mind pushed beyond breaking. A cautionary tale of fame's darkest side, of how success can amplify your demons until they nearly kill you. Will Smith built the perfect Hollywood life, hit after hit, the flawless family, that million-dollar smile, only to have it all unravel in 30 seconds on live television. The ultimate reminder that beneath our public masks, raw humanity always finds a way out. And Michael Bay, the wonder kind who rewrote the visual language of action cinema only to become imprisoned by his style. From revolutionary to relic in the blink of an eye. But here's the strangest part. In 2020, against all odds, Smith and Lawrence reunited for Bad Boys for Life. Critics loved it. Audiences showed up. $426 million worldwide. And Bad Boys 4 is shooting as we speak. Maybe that's the real legacy of Bad Boys. Not just a movie, but a reminder of how fragile success can be. How fame can build you up, tear you down, and sometimes, if you're lucky, give you one more chance. 3 men, 1 movie, lives changed forever. If this deep dive into Hollywood's real stories hit home for you, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe. What other movie cast should we explore next? Let me know in the comments. The stories behind the stories are always more fascinating than what makes it to the screen. Bad Boys, for life, for real.